Good evening. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I know we haven't spoken in a while, but I've been busy bumping heads with other chief executives in the NFL boardroom. For those of you who do not know me, I am NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. I have been the commissioner since 2006, and I have enjoyed every minute of it. I started working with the NFL as an intern in 1982. After graduating from Washington and Jefferson College in 1981. Climbing up through the NFL ranks, I've always aspired to make the NFL a more enjoyable experience for the fans and a better working environment for the players. It has been an honor working for such a great organization. Football is an amazing game, and I am grateful to have had the opportunity to play it at the varsity level at Bronxville High School in New York. When playing this sport, it took heightened athleticism, supreme skill, and superb intelligence. This was at the high school level, so that I could only imagine the skill of the players who perform at the collegiate and professional levels. There are many positions on offense and defense, but all carry equal responsibility for the success of their teams. Unfortunately, each position carries the same amount of risk. According to the NFL injury surveillance system, the most common injury is involving the knee and the leg. Even though these injuries can be career-ending, most of the time players are able to make a great comeback and continue with their optimal performance. However, it saddens me to say another top injury in the NFL is of the head, neck, and spine. These injuries of the head, neck, and spine can also be classified as traumatic brain injury, also known as TBI. These can be caused by a bump, blow, or jolt to the head. Some are mild and only have temporary side effects, such as temporary loss of mental focus or mental status. But some TBIs can be more severe and have permanent damage. The most common TBI in the NFL is the concussion, which is considered mild, but if treated the wrong way, can cause serious problems. Although concussions are classified as mild, people do not know how to properly recover from them, and sometimes they can go unnoticed. During my time as the NFL commissioner, I have noticed an increase in concussions during the gameplay. I feel it is my duty to the fans and the players to do everything in my power to help bring the statistic down. Head injuries have the potential to permanently injure players, and this is something I absolutely dread. So I ask that my fellow NFL executives, fans, and players join me in raising awareness about this issue. I also ask that we take more responsibility as a group for this growing problem. Are you with me? I have implemented rules to decrease this number, but I have noticed an abundance of players who still play by their own rules, and they disregard the safety of their own teammates and their competitors. It is increasingly noticeable that the media portrays big-time head-on collisions as honorable. But do they take the time out to think, hey, that player might have suffered permanent brain damage? No, probably not. This glorification of head-on, high-impact collisions has to end soon because it is detrimental to the league. With the help of my NFL executives, I have enacted 3 new rule changes that you may not be aware of. First, a player cannot launch himself off the ground and use his helmet to strike a player in a defenseless posture, in the head and or the neck. Furthermore, if a player is to lose his helmet during the gameplay, the play is to be immediately called dead by the referee. Lastly, before a player can return to play after receiving a possible concussion, he must consult with an independent neurologist before returning into the game. Player safety is my #1 goal as commissioner, but some teams have taken it upon themselves to play by their own rules and undermine my authority and undermine the rights of their fellow players. There was an incident in 2009 where some New Orleans players were said to be getting paid for knocking their opponents out of the game. Presumably, this knocking out of the game would most likely be the result of the victimized players receiving concussions. But in defense of this action, the NFL Players Association cited a 1996 incentive program that was permitted by the NFL at that time called Smash for Cash. This program was funded by a Green Bay lineman who paid his own teammates for the big hits they made. Even though these programs existed and still may exist, they will no longer be tolerated. Even though these incentive programs do encourage players to perform at their best, it puts certain players at risk for head injuries due to the violent nature of these big hits. If a team wants to create an incentive program promoting clean hits, not involving helmet-to-helmet contact, for touchdowns, interceptions, I'm okay with that. Unfortunately, encouraging players to injure their opponents will not be tolerated in order to ensure the safety of all NFL players. I believe this obsession with big hits is a part of the NFL culture. If a player makes a huge collision with a competitor and the competitor has a hard time getting up or has to leave the game, the fans will be impressed. Most likely later on, ESPN and other sports shows will show the hit, and it will probably be replayed for weeks. Then it will get posted on YouTube and get a high number of views. This wouldn't be a problem if players were not getting hurt, but they are. These high-impact, impressive hits can lead to concussions, and over time, multiple concussions can lead to personality and mood changes. Multiple concussions can also lead to mild cognitive impairment, which is mild memory loss. A disturbing statistic is that players who suffer 3 or more concussions in their career are 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with depression and 5 times more likely to be diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment. According to the Concussion Watch organization, in the 2012 season, there was an average of 9 concussions a week. The Concussion Institute also estimates that football players have a 75% chance of receiving a concussion during their lifetime of gameplay. Let's not forget that concussions can happen multiple times in a game if a player does not rest long enough and get the proper medical attention. It also only takes 3 concussions and then you are prone for a permanent brain injury. Many players have played football for years prior to the NFL in college and in high school. Football at all levels is no stranger to concussions because it is capable of happening at any skill level. You may be asking yourself, why are concussions now a bigger deal than in the past? To answer your question frankly, it is because since 2011, 6 players from the NFL have taken their own lives. These players are Jovan Belcher, Dave Dwerson, Ray Esterling, Junior Seau, Kurt Crane, and O.J. Murdoch. It is believed that all these players suffered a degenerative brain disease called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, also known as CTE, which is caused by repetitive